Chinese President Hu Jintao has sent a congratulatory message to the opening session of the China-US Strategic and Economic Dialogue. It says the two countries should shoulder their important responsibilities on major world issues concerning peace and development. Hu Jintao says China and the United States have extensive common interests and broad space for cooperation. It calls for both sides to expand common ground, reduce the difference, enhance mutual trust, and strengthen cooperation through the strategic and economic dialogue. The first round of the China-US Strategic and Economic Dialogue has opened in Washington, D.C. It's the first time both high-level strategic and economic dialogue between the two countries has been arranged under one mechanism. The new dialogue covers a broader range of topics and will include more in-depth talks. Andrew Dupree has more.
Enhancing cooperation and deepening ties. They're the key words of the China-US Strategic and Economic Dialogue. Addressing the opening ceremony, U.S. President Barack Obama said the dialogue is an essential step forward in advancing a positive and comprehensive bilateral relationship. Obama said he and his Chinese counterpart Hu Jintao are committed to a sustained dialogue to enhance shared interests.
The relationship between the United States and China will shape the 21st century, which makes it as important as any bilateral relationship in the world. That really must underpin our partnership. That is the responsibility that together we bear.
Obama said the U.S. and China can cooperate in the economic recovery, promote financial stability, pursue free and fair trade, and uphold international financial institutions. He urged deeper cooperation between the two countries to advance mutual interests in a clean, secure, and prosperous energy future. The President also called on both sides to stop the spread of nuclear weapons and promote the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. And he called for joint efforts to combat transnational threats posed by terrorists, disease, and extremists. Also at the ceremony, Vice Premier Wang Qingshan said China and the U.S. will make further efforts to tackle the international economic crisis.
The world economy is at an important stage of recovery. The Chinese government's efforts to deal with the financial crisis have had some success. Both China and the US have shown signs of recovery.
Wang Qingshan said a more open and more dynamic Chinese economy will bring opportunities to all countries in the world, including the US. He called for both countries to make full use of the dialogue platform, build consensus, strengthen mutual trust, expand convergence of interests, and work to achieve mutually beneficial results. The two-day dialogue will focus on the challenges and opportunities that both countries face on a wide range of bilateral, regional, and global areas of immediate and long-term strategic and economic interests. Unlike the previous strategic economic dialogue between China and the Bush administration, the new strategic and economic dialogue includes two tracks. Chinese Vice Premier Wang Qingshan co-chairs the economic track with U.S. Treasury Secretary Timothy Geithner. State Councilor Dai Bingguo co-chairs the strategic track with U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. Andrew Dupuy, CCTV.
Staying with that story, Chinese Assistant Finance Minister Zhu Gongyao says China and the United States have agreed to continue their efforts to deal with the economic crisis. The official says the two countries agreed there were some signs of recovery in the international economy and financial markets, but they also cautioned that economic foundations were far from sound. Both countries then concluded that they should not slack any of their efforts and must do more to boost the global economic recovery. Zhu said the Chinese measures to address the global crisis were paying off with some positive changes in the Chinese economy. He said China will continue its proactive fiscal policy and moderately relaxed monetary policy to consolidate achievements. Chinese State Councilor Dai Bingguo has called his discussion with U.S. State Secretary Hillary Clinton a good beginning for the dialogue mechanism. At a joint news briefing with Clinton on Monday afternoon, he called for both sides to cherish and further develop their positive ties. Dai said that China-U.S. relations, forged through the efforts of 3 decades of leaders from both countries, have achieved great progress. Hillary Clinton called for conversation with the State Councilor a very good one. coming up now.